What's up, party people? It's your boy Optimus Code. Welcome to the channel. Okay, so today we're going to go over the basics of programming, what a programmer is and what a programmer does. And if you stick around to the end of the video, then you will have a better understanding of the role of a programmer on a video game, and you will be able to see some of the tools that the developers use during the dev process. Okay, so what is a programmer? You hear this term all the time. The programmer's this, the programmer's that. So what is a programmer and why is this important? Well, it's important because as you start to deal with more and more technical things, the loose language that you use, like on Twitter and social media and other aspects, that won't really work in a technical conversation. In conversations that have to do with technology, the majority of the time, your language and the words that you choose need to be very specific. And the idea is to do away with vague ideas and vague concepts. And we use this clarity to make sure that we're all on the same page, striving for the same things. One of the worst things that you can do on a tech team is have one person think you're doing this and another person think you're doing that. So we do not use loose language when dealing with technology. The words and the phrases are very specific. Now, of course, there are times when we will speak loosely, but everyone understands, okay, hey, this is just casual conversation. We're not being technical. All right. So that being said, then what is a programmer? Well, a computer programmer is someone who is able to get a computer to perform custom behavior. And that custom behavior will change depending on what it is exactly that they're trying to accomplish. But a computer programmer is someone that knows how to give specific instructions to a computer in order for that computer to perform some custom behavior. Those sets of instructions that a programmer gives to a computer, that is called a program or an application. An application and a program are the exact same things. And of course, these days we use the shorthand, so we don't actually say applications anymore. We just say the shorthand form of that, which is an app or apps. But programs, applications, apps, they're all the same thing. A programmer is someone who knows how to create and build those apps. And all of those apps, what they contain are specific instructions to get a computer to perform custom behavior. So for example, if you open up your desktop PC and you're just sitting there and the PC is not doing anything, you just got your home screen, and you have to decide, okay, well, what do I want my computer to do right now? Or what do I want to do on my computer? As it stands, the computer's just going to sit there not doing anything until you open or start some app. And of course, you can have some apps that automatically start on startup. Whenever you log in, you can have apps that automatically run. But that's still something that you have configured. You have decided, I want my computer to do these things. And in the moment, so for example, you may decide that you want to check the weather. Well, there are multiple ways that you can check the weather. But either way, however you decide, you're going to have to use some app to do that. So it could be some widget that you've configured to check the app for you. That widget is a special type of app or program that has custom behavior, and that custom behavior is interacting with other servers to get weather reports and then to present that data to you as a user. You could open up a web browser, which is another app. Web browsers have specific custom behavior that goes and resolves URLs and then sends you back the data that exists at that URL and then displays that data for you on your screen. So whatever it is, the point is you're going to have to choose some application that has been programmed to provide the behavior that you're after. Every single app that you use, every single application, every program has been coded by a developer or a team of developers. So it is common to call a programmer a developer. It is also common to call a programmer a coder. A coder and a programmer are the exact same thing. So how do programmers then make these apps? How do they create these programs? Well, they do this by learning what's called a computer programming language. A programming language is a special set of words and logic statements that you use to issue instructions to a computer. The majority of programming languages are what we call high-level languages, which means that their keywords and their reserved words, they mimic English statements. So here is some computer code that's on the screen now. The output of a computer programming language is called code. So what you're looking at on the screen is called computer code. This particular language is C#. C# has its own set of keywords that you use here, and you can create variables, and there are other language constructs that you combine to create instructions that go to a computer. And the reason these are called high-level languages is because they mimic English statements. And the better the programmer is, the more her program reads like English. And the reason that programmers are sometimes called coders is because the way that a programmer gets the computer to perform custom instructions is by writing computer code. Hence, a programmer and a coder are the same thing, because a programmer produces code. This code then, which was written in more than likely a high-level language. Now there are low-level languages. We won't cover that in this video, but we will talk about it in the next video. So a high-level language like C# here has code that is written by a human, and the whole point of this code is for other humans to be able to read it and to understand it. The reason this is important is because you almost always have to change it. So your code needs to be readable so that other developers working with you can change the code and make sure that they don't break it or mess something up. Now, here's the thing. Just like there are multiple doctors, so for example, you have surgeons, you have general practitioners, pediatricians, heart specialists, people that work in orthopedics, so on and so forth. You also have different types of programmers. So you may have an app developer, and within app development, there are tons of domains like HR, human resources. There's like the banking domain. There's stock trading programs, online shopping, and which we all love. YouTube itself is an app. There are just so many different types of applications in the application domain space. And then we have game developers. And of course, there are multiple domains and types within game development itself. You have open world games with a lot of 3D geometry. You have 2D games. You can have 2D open world games. You can have 3D platformer games, so on and so forth. There's just a ton of variety and different types of applications, even within game development itself. Now, just like with surgeons and general practitioners and pediatricians and all of these good fine people, with every doctor, even though each doctor will specialize in a specific thing, so a heart surgeon will know a lot more about the heart than a brain surgeon. However, the brain surgeon will still know something about the heart, and the heart surgeon will still know something about the brain, because all doctors have in common human anatomy. It is just part of being a doctor, certain things about the human body that you have to know. Such as it is with programmers. Even though there are different areas of focus and specialization, there are certain immutable properties of programming that are true no matter what type of programmer you are. Certain things cannot be violated. It is impossible to be a programmer and violate any one of these immutable properties. It doesn't work. Just like a heart surgeon can tell you something about the brain without specializing in the brain, an app developer can certainly tell you something about game programming, even though they're not a game programmer. And a game programmer can certainly tell you something about AWS apps or any other app, cloud streaming or whatever it is, even though they are not cloud streaming app developers. They can tell you certain things about it because there are just certain properties that all of programming shares. Now, there will reach a point where, okay, I'm at the end of my knowledge on this particular area, and so then I have to reach out to someone that has more focus or more specialization in a specific domain. That's why on this channel, as we go on, you'll see I'll have more and more of my friends come in to talk about things, because we'll reach a point where my knowledge has been exhausted on a particular subject, and then I'll get an expert to come in and talk to you guys and explain things in their field or in their domain. Okay, now we need to talk real quick about the notion of binary. And We're not going to go into it in any great detail, but computers only understand one language, and that is binary. For a computer, everything is ones and zeros. And this is called a binary language. It is the only language that computers speak. The reason it's called a binary language is because every unit only has one choice. It's a 1 or it's a 0. Later on, we'll explain what these sequences of ones and zeros actually do and what they mean. But right now, you just have to accept that every computer program is a sequence of ones and zeros. Every single one, without fail, without deviation. Well, unless you get into quantum computing, which is something different, we're not covering that here. Computers only speak binary. So what you do as a programmer is you learn a programming language so that you can then give instructions to the computer. But here's the thing. So like I said earlier, most of these languages are high-level languages, and what they do is they allow you to write English-like commands. But like I just explained, computers don't understand English-like commands. Computers do not understand statements that are written in English or English-like keywords. Computers only understand ones and zeros. So even though a programmer writes code in a programming language, the code that's in that programming language is not sufficient to give instructions to a computer. There is still another step that needs to happen. And this is the role of a compiler. A compiler is like a translator. So if you speak Spanish and I don't, I only know English and you only know Spanish. So we get a translator to sit between us and we say, hey, I will speak to you in English and you will translate what I said into Spanish. That's the role of a compiler. What a compiler does is it takes human readable code written in a programming language and it converts that into ones and zeros for the computer to understand. Compilers are extremely important. A computer programmer cannot do their job at all if we didn't have compilers and interpreters. Every high-level language needs to be converted into ones and zeros for the computer to actually do anything with it. It is very important for you to remember that one of the main tools that a programmer has at their disposal are compilers. Absolutely, positively have to compile your code into what's known then as machine language, and we'll go over that in the next video. Okay, so that's it for this first part on programmers and what programmers do. Now it is time for the quiz. Okay, that's it. Quiz over. Time's up. Pencils down. How did y'all do? I don't think this quiz was too difficult. Hopefully y'all was able to pass it. If not, then, go back through the video and check out the parts that may have been confusing. Because everything you need to know to pass the quiz is covered in the video. Hey, so we really appreciate all the support that y'all have shown so far. If you're liking the content, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. If you like the video, go ahead and leave a like. Tell all your friends, neighbors, family members, countrymen, whoever it is, let them know, hey, there's this new channel that is really focusing on teaching video game technology at a level where everyone can understand it and doing it in a way where it's a safe space to learn about video game technology. If every time we teach one, they would reach one, this community would double and the number of educated gamers would double. It'd be great if you could also help out and do your part to help bring the knowledge to other people so that together as a community, as a gaming community, we are growing and understanding the technology and the impacts of all these things on the hobby that we all enjoy. More advanced stuff is coming soon, but we got to get these basics out of the way. Thanks for the support. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace.